I am on here just to do a quick Q&A. I did not post a video today, and I usually do on Fridays, but craziness, life just happened, and I'm not going to go into any detail because I don't really want this public information right now, but we had a kind of sort of emergency, and everything's fine. It's not life threatening, but it's a lot of paperwork. And we're going to have to be doing the paperwork. It's medical. I'll just leave it at that. So I got kind of very swept up in all of that, and also with the video that I made about AI. I have to redo that one. Um, so I'll try to get up my video tomorrow. So instead, I decided to jump on, do a Q&A, because we're getting close to the time of year where there is a lot of evaluations. If you are in the state of Florida, there are some questions about the PEP. There are some questions popping up about microschooling. And I'm seeing those over and over and over again. I'm getting a lot of emails. I'm getting a lot of comments. I'm getting a lot of messages. I'm getting a lot of text. And so also, if I get a chance, if you have a question, just pop it in the comment section and I will try to answer it as well. I only have till 4 o'clock because 4 o'clock I have to leave. So first of all, somebody wants to know more about microschooling, and or a couple people actually, because I did a reel about microschooling and my concern. It is fairly new when it comes to something within the homeschool realm. They are now classifying, especially in the state of Florida, because we have this like wonderful scholarship that a lot of parents are getting. Some people think it's wonderful, some people don't. Either way, there's up to $10,000 a year, between, I think it's between $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 a year that you can get. And the micro schools are coming in and actually taking the majority of that money, some cases all the money, to basically have your child get dropped off at somebody's house from 9 to 5. I'm just rough estimate, basically school hours, and basically work on programs, do science experiments in the backyard. Like that is just but it's every single day, Monday through Friday, and it pretty much functions as a schoolhouse, like a one-room schoolhouse. I think they can have, what I was seeing, up to 10 participants, and there's different organizations that have micro schools. The issue that I'm starting, or my concern that I'm seeing with these micro schools, is one, that they're taking money that is intended for home education through the scholarship, when in fact it isn't home education. The kids aren't even home, they're at somebody's house. So that's one concern I have. Another concern that I have is that it's not regulated. And yeah, I mean, there's daycares next to it that are regulated like crazy, yet micro schools are not being regulated. And like I said, it's a fairly new program. I think there's a lot of kinks and definitions that need to happen. But my suggestion for right now, if you're starting new, and maybe you love this idea of microschooling, but just my personal concern about the safety side of things and the regulations, I would just be very leery. And even if you're thinking about starting a micro school, there's a lot of legalities that go along with it. I'm not going to go into detail here, as I don't know all the details. I know some, and I've watched some videos, and I've read into some of their philosophies and how they set things up. So I would just be very leery of them until some terms are defined and some kinks are worked out. So that's pretty much it. I am coming out with a video. I actually, it's a talk that I did, and it's online. The talk that I did, in you can see it on YouTube. It's Creation Fellowship Santee is the name of the YouTube channel. And I did a talk about, I want to say 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago. And in that talk, well, actually, I give the history of homeschooling, and then I go into detail a little bit more on microschooling. It's actually pretty interesting. I actually re-recorded it to eventually put on this channel in a 2-part series, because it's a pretty long talk. And I'm gonna upload, I was gonna wait a little bit because I know now you can get it on their YouTube channel. I should put a link. I was gonna wait a little bit until like August or maybe like September to put it out, but you can definitely check that one out on Creation Fellowship Santee if you wanted to learn more about the history of homeschool, the modern homeschooling era, which is actually very interesting. Because everybody talks about the history of homeschooling, or I'm sorry, everybody talks about the history of public school education. Nobody's talking about the history of homeschooling and how it started. And it actually, just FYI, did start with the unschoolers, and it was a very leftist, liberal, pulling kids out of school, wanting to unschool them, very hippie type movement is actually how homeschool started. And then, of course, like the Christian homeschoolers like the idea, so they jumped on board and kind of just went crazy with it, started networking, and that's pretty much it. I mean, there's more to it, but yeah. So if you have questions, I see a couple of you guys on here. If you do have questions, pop them down in the, because I'm live, pop them down below and I can answer them. Okay, I'm going to switch over to the PEP. I'm going to switch over, because I should be getting I don't get as many questions about special needs education. I am going to talk about that, though, because there is one question that just came to mind that I've seen recently. But I'm going to switch over right now to, unless you guys have questions, I'm going to switch over right now to the PEP. Everybody's asking about that. So to get your information when it comes to the Step Up for Student, and this is for Florida, PEP and UA scholarships are two different. UA is under the homeschool laws, which is unique abilities, and PEP is a personalized education plan. I think those, I don't know, I might be totally wrong on the, that's the first thing that came to mind. Personalized education program, not plan. That is a separate entity in and of itself, does not fall under the homeschool laws. And so their requirements to stay legal, totally different from homeschool. And if you are going to do PEP, you will have to pull your child out. And a lot of people are asking me when they should do this, if they should do it now, do they need to get the evaluation done? Because I am doing homeschool evaluations. So to answer that question, usually the date of turnover tends to be July 1st. That's when things start to kind of flip over. That's when all of us that have had the PEP and the UA scholarship, because it's Step Up for Students, they're all going to kind of follow the same Emma system. They're going to be in the same dashboard, same everything. That usually turns over on July 1st. So that means I got to get all my receipts in. I have a deadline to get all my receipts in for those scholarships. After July 1st, because dates do change every single year, it seems like it may not, but they're still working the kinks out. This is year number 3 with PEP. Yeah, year 3 we're coming up to. They should be sending you a series of emails. Make sure to read all of them, because they will actually instruct you to withdraw your child, and they will also instruct you to fill out your education plan. And if you have filled out your education plan and you are a new renewal, or a new application, I should say, brand new application, if you have already done it, you're going to need to do it again after July 1st. If you don't, you will lose your scholarship. And that happened to a lot of people last year. Even though Step Up was constantly sending these emails out, parents were thinking, and I know this because these parents would verbalize this to me, oh, when I applied back in April, I filled out that plan. So I did it. I'm like, no. You need to do it again. You did it for that year, but the turnover date is July 1st. So make sure you do it again after July 1st for it to count. And if you have any questions, you can go to the dashboard on the Emma system, and they will show you that you've got to get your educational learning plan, the learning plan done. The learning plan is not scary. It's pretty much multiple choice, and it's basically for information. Like, they just want to gather information. And then at the end of the year, if I'm not mistaken, and I should know this since, I do have one child on the PEP, they will ask for you to update it and finalize it to get more data. And you got to remember, all of this is data at this point. you have to think about it. Some people are like hardcore, like, I don't want people having my data. I get that. But if you understand that the data is just going over to FSU, and FSU is doing all the graphs and charts and calculating, analyzing, and all that stuff, and that will be probably presented into Tallahassee after the 5-year point, because this whole thing is under a 5-year plan. They're watching it for 5 years to see if it's worth giving the scholarship money to the students, and to see if it's working, if there's improvements with all this data. The test scores, if you are doing PEP for the 24-25 school year, you should have your child tested. You should be in the process of getting them tested. And then soon they will have a place where you can upload those test scores, which is coming very soon. I don't think it has. I haven't checked Emma this week. I literally check it every single week, every week. And what's nice is they have like a little dashboard section that says these are the things that you need to get done. So if they didn't approve some of your money, it'll say that. Or if you need to update anything, it'll say. So I'm trying to think with PEP. Oh, the other thing that people are asking me is, if I'm approved for the PEP scholarship, do I still have to do my homeschool evaluation this year? And I'm getting that question a lot. Like, people don't, I mean, it is kind of stressful, but yes, by law, you do need to get that evaluation done. Yes, there have been parents that don't do it and nothing happens to them. It happens. They just kind of slip through the cracks. But by law, if you want to follow law, legal stuff, you have to understand it has to get done, because it's a year-long process, okay? That's just how it is. I mean, if you want to just skip the evaluation and jump right into PEP and not do your final evaluation, that's completely up to you, but the law says you have to. So that's my answer to that question. Okay, I have 2 questions in here, I think. Let me check. I have to wear my glasses because I'm getting old, guys. Do you see all this gray? Like, the sun hits it and I'm just... I always laugh. I always say, like, every gray piece of hair in my head counts for one of my public school students that I taught. And now the glasses. Okay, someone's saying, hi, I'm new to homeschool. This was her first year as a kindergarten. Awesome. Oh, she retracted the message. I didn't even read it. See, I can't see without these things. So if you have a question, just kind of throw it in the bottom. Okay. I'm trying to think if there's any other questions. Microschooling and the PEP. The homeschool evaluations, if you are still struggling with, what is an evaluation, what is a consultation, what is a choice navigator, there's so many terms that are kind of floating around, whether you're in Florida, whether you are in another state. In Florida, basically an evaluation, a portfolio evaluation, or just sometimes they'll just say evaluation, is when you meet with a teacher and do the work, show the work to the teacher. Sorry, I was trying to read that. That's a portfolio evaluation. You meet once every year on your anniversary date, and different people charge different things. I see it everywhere from $35 up to $60 per student. So I charge $40, which I think is a pretty reasonable price per student. Okay, that's portfolio evaluations. There's also testing, and it just depends on the testing, the teacher. You have to get a certified teacher to test. That can be a whole video, to be honest. I think I have a video actually on testing. I do. Just go on my YouTube. Hold on one second. This person's asking me a question. So we should disenroll for homeschooling to sign up for the PEP. Okay, you have to make sure that you get approved for the PEP first before you even disenroll. And you only disenroll after they give you that email. They send out that email. If you didn't, the deadline though for the PEP for 25-26 school year is over. Like, it was April 30th, and so if you enroll now, or if you try to apply now, I don't think you're going to get it till 26-27. So you can try and see what happens, because they might be like, oh, okay, no big deal. I don't know how they are with the rules, but I know that when they sent out the April 30th deadline, they were pretty like, you got to get it in, and very rigorous with the emails, lots of them coming in. So you are enrolled as a homeschooler until they send you that email saying you should unenroll as a homeschooler. And that's going to come around last year. It came around August. Okay. Yes. So if you didn't apply, you do have to wait until next year. It should open up in February. I mean, you can try now and see what happens, but they might just hold your application until next year. Actually, no, they won't, because they don't open the application till February. So you might want to just look on the website too to see what they're saying. All right, I just want to see if if I understand correctly. UA stays with the homeschool program with the county, yes. An evaluation at the end, yes. Nothing to send to Emma, except for the receipts. The receipts and using the provider and the My Scholar Shop. You don't have to send test scores. You don't have to do the learning plan. That's it. Just do your 1 a year evaluation and send it straight to the district, or your homeschool evaluation, portfolio evaluation. That's all the same thing. Homeschool evaluation, portfolio evaluation. Yeah. That's it. And so you do understand correctly. All right. Thank you. I've been so confused on that. I was scared to do anything until I found out more. Okay. If you guys, this is another thing that I have found out. So actually, oh, I'm not supposed to say it. I'm not going to say it. I almost slipped, guys. I almost slipped. There's an announcement at the FPA Florida Convention. Even though it is on YouTube, I can't say it. I'm kind of excited about it. But in regards to HEF, which is Home Education Foundation, there's a big announcement happening during the FPEA conference. I'll leave it at that. Anyway, so the Homeschool Education Foundation, that's where our lobbyist for the state of Florida does all of their things. And every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, they will do a live, and you can jump on the live and you can ask the lobbyist any question you have, no matter how stupid you think it is. And I'm not joking. Like, ask them stupid questions. They don't care. They just want to help, period. So the reason I say that is I know that it can be intimidating because they are the lobbyists and they're working in Tallahassee. They're working alongside the team, Ron DeSantis's team for the education department. They're working with senators. They're working, I mean, this is politics, but they want to do this for you. So please go on there and ask them questions. And I'm also saying this because a lot of people are running to these Facebook groups that talk about the UA, that talk about the PEP. And there are people that are the administrators. They'll jump on there and usually they have the correct information, but 75% of the chance, 75% of the feed or readings that you're going to read are going to be people freaking out and misunderstanding information and giving you wrong information. And it's going to be very frustrating. Do not even join those groups. Like, don't. If you have a question, go to their live every Monday night on HEF and ask them. Now, if they don't know, okay, then, they'll tell you where to go and find the information. Most of the time, all of my information can be answered through HEF, talking to Brenda or Jason, the lobbyist, or going and calling Step Up for Students personally, or looking in Step Up for Students handbook, looking through their handbook. There has been, situations where I'm not sure if they will reimburse me for something and I need to know what they have. So for example, I did this thing, Homeschool Spanish Academy, which is a foreign language program, and their lessons online. So I had to go through, I had to do it as an elective, then I had to click on foreign language, and then I had to click on lesson, I don't know what it was like lesson classes or something like that. So I did it through that. Somebody else did it as a tutoring. Those are going to have different qualifications. So it gets tricky. You either have to call Step Up for those details, or you have to go to the handbook to look to see exactly what you want the receipt for, where it qualifies. And you have to learn how to figure out, you know, what you need on the receipt, and not be afraid, if it's not on the receipt, not be afraid to contact the company in to write you a new one. Like, it's a whole back and forth thing sometimes, and it can be frustrating. That's why I say it's a full-time job. But don't do the Facebook groups. Okay. All right. I'm nervous to get my daughter tested for autism because I homeschool and I don't want anyone to tell me I have to do something I don't want to do. So that's where it's really tricky, because I understand this idea of not wanting to trust the medical professions. Not, you know, you are still the mother, you're still in charge, you can still make those choices on what you decide to do. And why do you want the diagnosis? What's the purpose behind it? So I can only speak to why I did what I did, because I have kids on PEP and UA. So we do have ADHD diagnosed. I won't be specific, but I chose to get that diagnosis. I chose it to get the UA, I'll be honest. But now that I have that diagnosis, I am able to go, okay, well, first of all, I look at it this way, like, everybody has issues, everybody has problems, you know, whether it's labeled, I hate using that term label, but whether it's labeled as ADHD, autism spectrum, whatever it is, we all have issues. Somebody may have an anger management issue. Somebody might, you know, have, and this is another thing, you know, mental health. Like, there are mental illnesses out there. Finding out what, and not even that, just some people have, everybody has issues, okay? Nobody's perfect. There is always a weakness that we have. And if we can figure out what that weakness is, then we can find the tools to help us overcome those weaknesses. So I try not to look at it as a label, but as a, oh, we've discovered where your weakness is. Let me find tools to help guide you. Let me find tools to help you be successful. Don't want anyone telling me I have to do something I don't want to do. So my thought, is that, I'm guessing that's probably coming from the doctor saying, oh, they're on the autism spectrum, they need to have this therapy, this therapy, this therapy, this therapy, because they're going to make suggestions. And unless it's something that's life-threatening, you don't have to do it. Like, you don't. And don't get in a fight with them, because that's only throwing more fuel on the fire. The best thing to do is, if you go and you get them tested, and they give you the autism diagnosis or the spectrum diagnosis, and they give you what level, whatever. I don't know the process of I do know it's usually, I think it's done by some kind of doctor, like either a neurologist, because we did ADHD through a neurologist, because I wanted to get that doctor note. They will say, oh, you need this done, this done, this done, this done, this done. If you're just in there to get the diagnosis, and then quietly go through the process, and you can always come back and cancel if you want to, as long as it's not life-threatening, because then when you're getting into the life-threatening stuff, it gets really, really sticky. Because we all know, you know, she already has, okay, wait. Provisional diagnosis. I don't know what you mean by that. I guess my question is, would it be something, I guess really the question is, you know, why do you want the diagnosis? You know, that's the biggest question to ask. If the provisional diagnosis is something that you can use to get the scholarship with, then, you know, and that's your reason for doing it, then why go any further? But if you need to get one from a doctor to apply for the scholarship, and that's something that you want to do, I would just do it. And then they will give you feedback on what they think you should do next, and then you can make the decision whether or not you want to do it. I mean, I would just leave it at that. I'm rambling. I also just saw the time. Which, because I got a notification. So I got a few more minutes. Okay, they want to check again when she's older. Do you want to get it checked? I mean, if you've already got there's so many things. So if you've already got the scholarship, you don't need to get it rechecked, because once it's in the once it's in the system, it's in the system, so you won't get it rechecked. But if you need to get, I mean, if you want to get a diagnosis for something else, I would just get it done. Unless you're, I mean, if you need to get, I'm sorry, my brain like heard noise. And then I got distracted. If you need to get the um rigidness is driving me nuts. I mean, there, do you want to put her in therapy? That would be my next question. Like, I don't know. I guess you have to just look at um what you want. Like, do you want therapy? Do you want recommendations? You don't have to do anything I tell you to do. I just hate speech, but I don't have to. Like speech therapy, but I don't have to. I mean, that's the first thing that I just hate speech, but I don't have to. I don't know what that means. This feels like one of those things that I just almost need to have a sit down talk. They don't understand her. Oh, they want her in speech. I mean, that's up to you. It always comes back to what you want. If they want her in speech, that's their opinion. Is it the speech teacher? I'm curious now because you're saying you hate speech. I'm wondering if it's the specific teacher, because I know that we do speech. So we do speech with Naomi, she's Down syndrome, 3 times a week, and I love it. But the biggest thing that they work on with her, speech therapy does help a lot. I hate speech. I don't know what the other speech is then, but I love our therapist. We just do a lot of repeat after me, read and repeat. And then they have target letter sounds that she works with, and they change them up. They have them on a rotation. And then I take them, because she does it 3 times a week in the morning, and then whatever target letter they're working on that week, I work with her to try and rotate those sounds through the week. And then we work on some like oral exercises every once in a while. But I feel bad because I don't really understand. It's so hard when I can't like sit down and talk. And I am running low. I've got about 3 more minutes. Yeah, I would try. If you're in Tampa, I know a really good therapist. That would be her therapist, Naomi. She's in South Tampa. Her name is Carrie Rigberg. She's amazing. And then she's gonna get bombarded. She's awesome though. Oh, you're in California. That's kind of far. Yeah, maybe try something again. That's what I would do. Okay, any suggestions for a 10-year-old math and language arts? Ooh, dyslexia. All about reading, all about spelling is really, really good. Math UC is also really, really good. The more hands-on manipulatives that you can use for dyslexia for math, the better, because you're not reading. So anything that's hands-on. Okay, they helped my autistic son a lot. He could hardly form any word. Now he talks better, so I can understand him better. They helped. Oh, for speech. Okay, I think she's adding that as a comment to the speech comment. Yeah, I think so. I love speech therapy. Let's see. Okay, that's very helpful. Yay, I'm glad I helped. That was an easy answer. Okay. Okay, I'm in time to do the portfolio evaluation in July with you. Yay. Will be through Zoom, or can I be in person? I'm near. Well, okay. I mean, if you want to do it in person, if you're in Riverview, that's not bad. Email me. That's all I can say, because I don't want to have the conversation here, because my time is very valuable, and it's easier for me to do it on Zoom. I'm able to help as many people as I possibly can by being able to sit. But if you're in Riverview, there are certain times that I'm in Riverview where I'm available because I'm just waiting on my kids. So email me. Okay. Speech therapy. So she's back to referring to speech therapy. And so like right now as an example, where I have to go to take my kids to music lessons, and I'm going to be just like sitting around for a while doing nothing, but I can't get on here because it's really loud where I am. Okay, do you ever come to Daytona Beach on vacation? I don't. Okay, so the reality is that I can do portfolio evaluations across the state of Florida. The problem is my time. Uh, I want to be able to serve as many people as I possibly can because the demand for evaluations and even consultations, because I do consultations like actually worldwide, because I've done some in different countries. Um, the demand is high. And if I were to drive everywhere, I would never have enough time to help everybody that I need to help at the same time as with my kids. So the only reason I say Riverview is okay is because like I live here and there are times that I'm literally in Riverview and we can set up a meetup. But I don't drive to Daytona unless I'm on vacation, which I'm not. I don't have plans driving to Daytona anytime soon. What is the fee? So I charge 40 per student, and that's my prices. But on an average, you're going to see prices anywhere from 35 to 60. That's usually the price range. I do think now I'm on the lower range because I haven't raised them in a while. So, and the economy is not doing too great. And I'm not planning on raising them anytime soon as of right now, unless it gets it depends on supply and demand, I guess. They're not raising this summer at all. And I don't think they will next year. Yeah, it is. People say that to me all the time. Because 40 is not that bad. Now the consultations I do 80 for because that takes a little bit more prep and they take, the full hour. I do 80 an hour. So if we're going to talk about students, we're going to talk about this. I do need to somehow set up a package where if I do like a series of consultations, then I can like do discounts or something like that. But and then what's also very nice is consultations are the same thing as choice navigators. If you're familiar with that term through Step Up, it's literally the same thing. And I am a direct provider. So, but consultations. Oh, and I wanted to add, and I need to start advertising this because this is like really super cool. I am contracted through an organization called Sped Homeschool, and they do consultations, but they have this really cool thing called Mindprint. And it's a test to test your child's cognitive skills to see their strengths and weaknesses. Really, really good for neurodivergence. And right now, I don't know how much they are, but you can see them on the website. Sped Homeschool, SPED. I think I have links on my website. What is the requirements to become a homeschool evaluator? You have to have your teaching certification in a core subject. So that's literally it. And that's why I see, and I'm running out of time and I got to go soon. But that's why I try to always say, if you are looking for a homeschool evaluator, please be careful because there are a lot of teachers, like literally teachers in the public school system that want to moonlight and they're going to advertise as evaluators and they don't know anything about the homeschool laws. And there's horror stories that come out of those situations. And I will say for me, I have been doing portfolio evaluations for 15 years. So, and I am friends with our lobbyist in the state of Florida and people on the HEF board. And I know the laws. And I talk to HSLDA every year. I sit down with them at the booth at FPA and just ask them updates. And I'll go to their talk. And I always try to make it a point to really make sure I keep up to date with all the legal stuff as much as I possibly can. So that's what you get when you get me. I mean, like 15 years of these portfolios and homeschooling for kids from birth, basically, and with special needs and with non-special needs. What do they call them? Atypical. I hate using that term because I don't know. Terms are like, that term drives me a little nutty because nobody's atypical, like in my mind, but we're all got issues. Like like in like different areas or struggle. That's just issues. It's not like a really good word to use. So I want to like, pull that back and rephrase that statement. We all have struggles is what I'm trying to say. That was if it was a video, I would have edited that out. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff coming in. I will email you. Thanks. This is my first year homeschooling. That's why I probably need a consultant. Yeah, and I do those. And it's also good to like just sit down and get an idea of where you are, what specific questions you need, and I can get kind of a feel for what's going on. So all evaluators are teachers or have a teaching degree. Should I ask for credentials before I choose an evaluation? I mean, you can, but what credentials do you want? Because some are just, you're gonna get a lot of homeschool parents that graduated kids or are still homeschooling kids that maybe went to school, got their teaching degree, got their certificate, and taught for 6 months and quit. And, those are great evaluators because they don't know much about the public school. But there's a lot of us like that. Like I taught for 10 years in the public school system and then I quit. And other people like a few years. But when you get that teacher that is, I am a current teacher in the public school system, or I'm a current teacher in the private school system, and they don't homeschool their kids, those are the ones you want to avoid. So, you can, or just, there's so many of us out there. Yeah, I can recommend myself. Homeschool Hive also has some really good evaluators. I love Kimberly. We're really good friends, and I wouldn't say really, really good friends. We're like really good acquaintances. That's a better term. She's pretty cool though. So I'm gonna have to go. I have to be in the car like in 1 minute. They don't always have to have a teaching degree. They have to have a teaching certificate. There's a difference because that's the way the state of Florida kind of works. Okay, I am gonna go because it's now 4:15 and I gotta load the car up. My daughter's got to put her cello in the car and we're going to do music lessons. So I'm going to head off. I'll try to get up my video tomorrow. I'm going to try to get it up. So if you catching this late, leave a comment in the comment section down below and I'll try to get to it because that's what I'm going to be doing while I'm waiting for my kids to finish playing instruments, is checking all my comments. I'm behind again. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye. Oh, wait, I got to figure out. I always do this. Oh, yeah, I got to turn it off there. Okay, bye.